We're back with Bunky. Let's take a look at the last Adept then. This one's kind of special. I don't think anyone saw this one coming, the Awakened Collector. I'm not going to get into too much detail about the whys and whats here, and I have plenty of that to talk about in the gameplay, okay? This is how I'm building it nowadays. It's very different from my test drive video. Very, very different, okay? I go with damage for the first evolution of Dark Sphere. Then I go with damage over time, and then finally I go with unstable Dark Sphere. So now I've just got a really nice radius on the detonation. That does a lot of damage, and then there's a lot of damage over time with this thing as well. He does hit super hard, this character. But with Seeker Swarms, okay, this is where it gets kind of, well, very different. I gave up on the idea of these things actually doing any real damage and just made more focus on them being a utility, okay? I go with the recharge seed still, obviously. I don't care about the slow mechanic, I never have, okay? But for the next evolution, I go with the damage reduction over damage, because they don't hit hard enough to waste your time speccing into it. At least with the damage reduction, each one of these flies give me a 10% damage protection, okay? And that's especially good for the next evolution, where I like to go with the swarm count now. So I've got 4 of these things, give me 40% damage reduction. It's going to be very useful on this character. This is a power build, so we don't get a lot of health. But I do stick 3 points into Shark Channel. That's all I need, just to pile on the damage over time here. And with Vengeful Agent, this hasn't changed, because I just love how much damage this guy does with his powers. It is incredible. So and get it all, guys. Damage and capacity, power damage, and more power damage. I still get a 5% weapons damage bonus, and another 5% collector and prothean weapon damage bonus, okay, even without speccing into anything like that. And that's all I'm going to need for weapon support, okay, because this guy's powers are powerful. For the Ancient Warrior, though, his fitness, I go with durability. You are so squishy. You really are. Especially if you're going to attempt to use Ascension mode, which I do recommend, because in the next evolution I go with the Ascension recharge speed over the shield recharge, okay? Because I do like that 15% recharge speed bonus on my powers, because they're so his powers are powerful, so I want to get them out there as frequently as possible. Don't waste your time speccing into the extra damage bonuses, though, okay? Powerful enough, and you definitely want that health, and it's really not Ascension mode strength as far as I'm concerned. I mean, you have got a tidy 700 health and 1050 barriers, but the way this character moves and operates just kind of makes you feel like he's got human health. It really does. I'll get more into the gameplay. Let's not stick around too much here. Let me show you the weapon, okay? I'm going to be rocking the Collector SMG on this guy still, okay, so I'm going to be getting that nice 10% weapons bonus on this thing. I definitely recommend the magazine upgrade on this gun. It's absolutely essential for it. But then you get the power magnifier as well, so there we get extra power damage, okay. For the equipment, I go with the warp ammo on this guy still. I do like the extra warp ammo. I do like the warp rounds, because they basically doubling the damage that my gun does, because I can prime a ton of targets. So now I've got some really great weapon support, okay? For the armor bonus, I go with the power efficiency, okay? Yes, I do really power on the recharge speed here, because even for the gear now, I'm going to be going with the expert package, okay, so I get some more power recharge speed, but I also get the SMG damage, so even more weapon support there. But I really do feel that you need to get his powers out as fast as you can, because they do hit super hard. The weapon bonus is obviously going to be an SMG rail lamp, okay, so I don't have to tell you that. Let's jump into the gameplay and let me show you it. This is it then. It's me, Dom, and Vader, and we're being joined by FTG Assassin, one of my subs. He's going to be rocking my Volus Adept build, and he's going to be shadowing Vader for the most of the game and just doing a lot of fire explosions with him. So there's going to be a lot of damage put out in this game. Unfortunately, this game is going to be Reapers on Reactor. I'm so sorry, guys. I do unknown, and I get that enemy faction and that map all of the time. I really do. I'm sorry to have to keep showing you that, but what can I say, guys? I get good footage on those, because I do enjoy fighting Reapers, and I do enjoy fighting on Reactor. Okay, it is a map I like. It's Hazard Reactor, if I remember. Yeah, Hazard Reactor. So a little bit spicier. But yeah, I know, I show you this a lot. But to be honest, it's going to be even better for this character, okay? Because this guy is just beastly on the enclosed maps, okay? Corridors are his playthings. Well, he's good on the big maps, don't get the wrong idea, but look at the way Dark Sphere travels, okay, that you can literally just get everything in a corridor, absolutely everything. But let's focus, okay, because a lot has changed since my test drive of the Awakened Collector. Well, as far as how I play him goes, the character itself hasn't. There's been some like buffs to Ascension mode, if I remember correctly, although they were like largely forgettable. I think they reduced the amount of damage you take in the stance and increased the amount of damage you do in it, although that number is really small. You don't really feel that. I think I do feel he's less squishier in Ascension mode nowadays, but you certainly don't feel like I'm doing a lot more damage in Ascension mode, which it would have been nice to see. I would have liked that buff. I think Ascension mode deserves to do more damage than it actually does. And that's it, guys. He hasn't changed in that respect. He's still also plagued by huge recharge speeds and like lengthy animations that just leave you very, very vulnerable. You know, it's because of all this I've really teetered back and forth about how I feel about him. I mean, I've really liked him, I've kind of disliked him, but you know, I've settled now. I've got this build, and I do really like him. Okay, my first ever build of this character, if you saw that test drive video, that was me playing him the first day. Well, not the first day of the DLC, but it was my first day playing him. Okay. That was all about bombing, okay, and I was basically trying to make him play a lot faster than he actually can, because it's just how I like to play pretty much all games. It's how I go through life, okay. I'm incredibly impatient. I do like it fast-paced. I do like to see a lot of action. And that's just how I roll in this game. That's how I tried to go with this guy. But that turned out to be like a bad route to take, because his bombs just aren't strong enough, in all honesty, guys. His powers don't like weaken targets or increase the strength of detonations in any way. So, you know, you've got a standard biotic explosion with this guy when you detonate any of his own bombs. It is just very standard. And, you know, you're doing kind of tech burst damage, and there's a reason why tech burst is kind of, you know, fallen back as like the least popular power combo, because there's just not a lot of tech bursting powers that you know, weaken the enemy or make the detonation stronger. There aren't a lot of them, and those that do exist, a lot of those that do exist are bugged and broken, like electrical slash. Okay, that 100% increase the detonation just doesn't work, and you got all those problems. So it's not that tech bursts are weaker than biotic explosions, but by standard they do about the same damage, but it's the fact that with all these things like warp that weaken targets, and you've got things like within throw and stuff, or annihilation field, which increase the damage enemies take, or sorry, somewhere I was going. But you know, you've got things like in throw that increase the detonation power, okay, the detonation strength. So you know, biotic explosions just tend to come off stronger. And plus there's a huge push to get onto the higher difficulties to earn the money, so you can unlock the game's content. And that means you're just going to be dealing with, when you're playing Gold and Platinum, you're just dealing with a ton more armor. So, you know, taking out shields just kind of gets less important. You want to be doing your fire explosions and your biotic explosions that have armor bonuses, or your cryo explosions that weaken armor. Especially because cryo explosions are popular because of snap freeze. I'll be honest, that super buggy power just lets you prime everything through everything all the time. So that's why cryo is still amazing, but it weakens armor. So anything that hurts armor is great, but tech bursts only do extra damage to shields. I don't think they even do extra damage to barriers. So, you know, it's just irrelevant. To be honest, it's irrelevant at this point. All I'm telling you is that his biotic explosions really are very standard, so they're just not that powerful. They're not something you can focus on with this character if you want to do well with him. Because the truth to this character is he is a powerhouse, okay? He doesn't need biotic explosions. His powers are powerful, okay? Dark Sphere does monstrous damage. I hope you've noticed, okay? And he just eats his way through everything after that, okay? He can still bomb, though. He can still bomb, though, despite everything I just said, which is what keeps me interesting, okay? It's I don't normally like sort of damage over time builds. Now, see, this is what I'm talking about, guys. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Long animations on like Dark Sphere and everything just leave you so open. The enemy will just open fire. You got to be smart. You got to be clever. You got to be smarter than that if you want to go around casting. You want to go around doing anything he does at the enemy, because you are just so vulnerable during everything. But I'll get more into that. What I was talking about, like I really don't care for damage over time builds. They're kind of unresponsive. You know, this is like you don't with this character. You don't just stand there and cast some new brightly coloured spectacle and then just watch the enemy topple over like dominoes after a while. Okay, you really you hit them. You actually, you know, there's some real feedback in what you're doing. This guy is a storm of destruction, though. You feel pretty godly at the controller, and if you've got a biotic team behind you, oh my god! Talk about bringing the thunder. Okay. Now, what I do with this guy is a little complicated because the pattern is essentially a barrage, of sticky green death. You cast Dark Sphere and you send that into the mega middle of a crowd. Without detonating Dark Sphere, there is no recharge speed. I did mention this before. It's still the case, guys. Okay, you don't have a recharge speed until that power is detonated. So this allows you to cast Dark Channel immediately after it. Okay, so now you've got these two nasties just out there ripping apart everything they touch. Dark Sphere applies damage over time to everything it comes into contact with, while Dark Channel jumps from one enemy after the other, killing them with additional damage over time. Okay, so there's a ton of dot you can do with this guy. And, you know, while the whole group is being savage like this, you can then detonate Dark Sphere, finally, with a second press of the Y button, and just put out colossal damage in an instant, okay? A Dark Sphere detonation is enough to kill a vast majority of mooks or trash mobs. It really doesn't help that they've already been chewed up by a lot of dot, okay? They've been really suffering up to this point. But what makes it even worse is the dot doesn't stop, guys, okay? The Dark Sphere detonation, the Dark Sphere detonation that killed your Dark Channel enemy, that Dark Channel will now have jumped over to whoever survived the detonation, okay? Dark Channel lasts for 30 seconds. You can only have one out at a time, but, you know, you don't need to cast it a load of time because one single Dark Channel lasts for 30 seconds. So if there's a group out there that you've just hit with Dark Sphere and you've hit with Dark Channel, you've blown them up with the detonation, and there's still some stragglers, that Dark Channel is just going to be jumping around those stragglers for the next 30 seconds, eating them away. But it's not just that, okay? While at the same time, the Dark Sphere is still eating away at them as well, okay? Dark Sphere's damage over time lasts for 9 seconds. The dot applied on contact with the sphere does not disappear after the detonation, okay? So you've applied dot, you've blown stuff up in their face, and then the dot is still going, okay? There's just a ton of damage being done in that instant. But we will show no mercy, okay? There are 4 Seeker Swarms buzzing about you at this point. That's 4 struggling targets that's about to get bombed, guys. No, they will not survive that, okay? If you've got 4 guys desperately looking for the light at this point, still in that group, they're about to bounce off each other in a chain of biotic bombs, okay? Because he can still bomb super quick. I'm going to break off for a second here just to let you know that wasn't me just sort of trolling my teammates there. It's hard to tell with Dom on your team, but the central reactor does vent on its own, okay? And because we had an upload in here, I didn't want that to catch us, so I vented the reactor before we got in there, so we won't have to worry about that catching us off guard, unless, you know, Dom feels the urge. But no, let me get back onto the whole biotic bombs thing that this guy can still absolutely do. Because, you know, the Seekers fly off you super quick, and as soon as they come into contact with anything that's primed, they will detonate it. So, you know, you can just bounce off the survivors. Because you'll remember, this is a group scenario, okay? Because Dark Sphere and Dark Channel primes everything. You can just... Anything that's managed to survive all the damage we just put out, okay, then you can just throw the Seekers at them, and they're just going to blow up, okay? They're primed for an explosion when they're taking all that damage over time, and it doesn't disappear after you detonate it, guys, okay? It does not disappear, so even if they did somehow survive the biotic explosion, they're still going to be taking the dot after that. So yes, you can absolutely rinse a group of enemies in moments, okay? It absolutely is, but you'll want to keep those Seekers up just for that reason, okay? You can drop individual enemies quick with a Dark Channel and Seeker Swarm combo, okay? What I gave you now is just how you would completely destroy a group or like a corridor full of enemies, alright? But if you encounter just some lone enemy, just hit him with Dark Channel, throw a Seeker in his face, biotic explosion, you can gun him down then, okay? Absolutely just gun him down super quick. We have got some really surprisingly good weapon support. Dom's getting slam dunked there. Dom's trying out something he's started to do recently. He's rocking the 50% chance of not causing a recharge with the biotic charge thing. He does like, just because I don't know what the record he's
come across now. I think he's got something like 7 or 9 biotic charges off in a row. So it's pretty crazy, but you still want the barrier, guys. Barrier is still the best evolution. You definitely want to have more survivability as opposed to just being able to charge again. Charge isn't about doing damage, but Dom's having fun. But no, let me get back onto it, okay? Where was I? I was talking about the Seekers, if I remember correctly. Yeah, the Seekers... No, I was talking about weapon damage. I did the Seekers. The weapon damage... We have actually got some decent weapon support, despite the fact that I've only spec'd in for power damage. Because we have... Because you just get 10% weapon damage bonus by default. Because, well, if you're using a collector or prothean weapon, there's only one prothean weapon, that's the particle rifle, guys, but the collector weapons are clearly called collector something, so you can't get that wrong. But, you know, if you put one of them on this guy, you've got a 10% weapon bonus just by default, if you spec into his passives. So... That's alright. That's alright, but the thing is, we put warp ammo on the gun as well. We've got warp rounds 4, so that means that we do twice as much damage to any target that's primed for a biotic explosion, and we can prime everything for a biotic explosion, as I just explained, with how these two powers work, Dark Channel and Dark Sphere. So, you know, we're doing twice as much damage there with a 10% boost in backing it up, and then on top of that, Collector SMG was something I haven't mentioned to this point. I've only ever sort of brought up the fact that the Talon does 150% damage. It's got like 100%... Let me use the right terminology, okay? This is what might confuse people, because I had this question asked to me on my channel. The Talon does 150% damage to shield and barrier resistance. It's resistance damage multipliers. I'm trying to word it properly. But what you need to know is, like, unless stated otherwise, all guns do 100% to any kind of resistance. But the Talon does 150 to shields and barriers. The Collector SMG does 150 to armor. So that's great. That's really cool. So we have just got some decent weapon support backing it up. So if you're going to take out like a stray enemy super quick, you can. You just dark channel them, you hit them with a Seeker, they blow up, they fall to the ground, and you gun them down. They're dead. You're going to be able to deal with pretty much every kind of mook or trash mob. Okay. The big boss enemies, you're going to just take them down like you were taking on a group. Okay. So exactly what you do. But yeah, keep your Seekers on you guys. Make sure you got them up, because I mean. The bombing's good, but what else is there now? Hang on, I've lost myself in my own notes here. This is what I do for my commentaries, guys. I keep notes and stuff so I know what I'm saying, or I try to keep focus at least. Yeah, so you can drop individual enemies, but while the enemy are keeping a safe distance, okay, so this is like if you've got a single enemy just caught you by surprise, or I've spotted this marauder up close here, I'm going to bomb him. If you've got a safe distance, these Seekers, these 4 Seekers flying around you are giving you a tidy combined total of 40% damage reduction. And you do suffer from death with this character because you do need that 40% damage reduction, because like I said, this guy is a performer. Okay, he is such a performer. This elitist tick just loves to put on a show. There's an epic sequence attached to just about everything he does. And like with every good cinematic, you lose control of the action, guys. There are just huge animations on Dark Sphere, summoning Seekers, Ascension mode, and even his light melee. I mean, you saw me get dropped earlier. I think that was my first death, okay, guys? I saw a group of enemies, and I just tried to throw a Dark Sphere at them, and it was no good, because it's just not fast enough. They were able to just gun me down before Dark Sphere came into contact with them. I mean, I died again saying that, but that's just marauders murdering this, what they do. If you don't spot a marauder, they take you out. But yeah, guys, it's just because he's got that epic sort of fist shake that he's got to do before he launches Dark Sphere, and it's just a ton of that in everything he does, okay? It all just takes far too long. It really does. It quickly stops being epic when it's all got to be done in hiding, because you will be gunned down if you don't go into hiding doing most of these animations, okay? I will find myself a safe spot to summon my Seekers. I'll find myself a safe spot to go into Ascension mode. I will attack from a safe angle when I'm using Dark Sphere, okay? It's just something you've got to absolutely do, because it all takes too long and the enemy will gun you down. He's a squishy bug, and he cannot afford to strike a pose for the 2 or 3 seconds in front of anything, and this is just something he seems to think he can. I mean, You could be fooled into thinking that you're a bit tougher. You really could, because he does have really decent health and barriers. He absolutely does, especially for Adepts, okay? He's got really decent health and barriers. But it's because the fact that he just stands around striking poses all over the place, and Ascension Mode doesn't help. Ascension Mode still does make you squishier, guys. It absolutely does. But all that this combination of is his downfall, okay? You need to play him like he's any other squishy Adept, okay? Despite the great numbers he starts off with. Okay, it's got to be all these powers have got to be done though, guys. They've got to be done smart. You want to get Dark Sphere out there. You want those Seekers. You want to rock Ascension Mode. Okay, it does make you squishier again, but it increases your damage. Although never enough to make up for the sacrifices. To be honest, it's not about the damage, but most importantly with this build is it increases your recharge speed. So, we're already really powerful, guys. We never needed to try and grasp or, fight for some extra damage. He is really powerful. It's just really great to get those powers out as frequently as possible, okay? Ascension Mode is not something that requires your focus and dedication either, okay? It's just nice to have it. The way I see it, we got long animations to sit through anyway, so you might as well make the most of them, because the Seeker Swarm summoning animation, where he puts his hand in the air and calls upon the great stinky gods for flies. I don't know. That can be cancelled by a lot of things. Okay, this is when I opt for Ascension Mode. Okay, unless I need to do an evasive maneuver. Okay, if that's necessary, because that's another thing you can cancel with, and you absolutely should do if you've got something nasty coming your way. Just do one of his cool dodge moves, because he's essentially got the same dodge as the Turian's propulsion pack thing, except he rocks a nifty pair of wings to do it. No, you can evade, you can melee, you can go into Ascension Mode. That's what I like to do, because as soon as there are flies on you, do a heavy melee to activate the mode and assume some control, guys. Okay. And it's, what I mean by you don't need to focus about it. It's really easy to spot when you've got it on. Okay, guys. When you're green around the gills, you're good to go. You may not even have to do it every time because you might go for your Seekers faster one moment than you do the next, and by the next time you need to summon them, you might not need to use Ascension Mode again. It's not something you've got to worry about, like with Annihilation Field or anything. Okay, that's really subtle. It's very easy to tell that you're still in Ascension Mode, okay? Because the thing is, if you do it again while it's still active, you switch it off. So you want to avoid making that mistake, and it's pretty easy to do. With this character, I just like maximizing my recharge speed for this guy. Okay, I'd still have it faster if I could, but this seems to be the smarter way of going about it. Okay, I'm rocking the Collector SMG. It gives me a 200% recharge speed, which is excellent. But that's why I recommend just play it the Castaway, guys. Any of the SMGs are going to be good. Go with the Hurricane, the Tempest, decent stuff. Plus you get to rock the Power Magnifier for the extra damage. But you can go, Power Magnifier is attached to our pistols as well. There's great pistol choices. Go with the Talon, the Eagle, the Carnifex, decent stuff, they're alright. It's because we do a lot of power damage, okay? You don't need a lot of big weapon focus, you really don't. But if you wanted more, you can go with something. I'd still recommend you stay light, though. Go with something like the Wraith or Piranha. What you will lose in your recharge speed, you can gain in weapon damage. In fact, like I've said it a million times, because you can be a soldier with absolutely everybody in the game. You absolutely can. And you can just really go with doing the dot and shooting. To be honest, you can go something like the particle rifle, okay, have more of a weapon focus, and you can select the weapon bonuses as well, because you've got the damage bonuses from for prothean weapons and stuff. So you can just do a lot of dot. I collect a sniper rifle too. Okay, you can just do that and put fire ammo on and just stack it all up, guys. You can do that. Lancer would be another good choice. But I'm going with the warp, okay, so basically when I do have to shoot, I hit pretty hard, but like I just said, Incendiary's great second choice, because you can really just slap on and pile up the dot that you can do with this guy. The armor bonus, definitely want the power efficiency, for me anyway. I really want to be doing his powers as frequent as I can, because it's all too slow as far as I'm considered, so I want to get it as fast as I can. Although power amp would be great, guys, because like I said, he's powerful as hell, so making him more powerful can only be a good thing. But like I said, my biggest issue is the fact that there's just a lot of... he's just bogged down by a lot of cinematic bullshit, unfortunately. So you can go ahead and focus more on survivability, go with cyclonics and shield power cells. Shield power cells are good, because you don't need to get too close to this guy. You can see, Dark Channel is one of those powers that just hits, it's hit scan. If you've got an enemy targeted, Dark Channel goes on them, and Dark Sphere will travel as far as it needs to go. Okay, it just goes on forever until it hits a wall or you detonate it. So you can play at sniper distance with the guy. You don't need to get stuck into the fray. So shield power cells are good. You'll definitely get your shields time to recharge there. But for the gear, I go with the expert package as you saw. I got the recharge speed. I got the extra weapon damage. All good stuff there. If you want the pistol option, commando package would be great. So you got power and pistol damage. But, you know, like I said, he's powerful as hell. You can be more powerful. You can go with like the adaptive war amp or the mental focuser. In fact, I'd probably still pick the structural ergonomics over it, though, for more recharge speed. And, you know, you got your shield options, guys. There's always your shield options if you want to just have a better chance of surviving out there. But that's the Awakened Collector, okay, guys? He is amazing. I do really like him. He's a very good Adept. He's a very good Adept. And I love him this way. I absolutely do love to play him this way. But this is it, guys, okay? This is the last Adept. I've done them all. Well, I skipped the Phoenix Adept, okay, guys? Just because Singularity. To be honest, okay, Singularity is on him, so Singularity is going to be all about Singularity. Throwing Singularity out and getting Singularity in different ways. And frankly, the vanilla human does it better. And that's the only reason I don't pick the Phoenix Adept. But that is, I've shown you every other, so I hope you've enjoyed them. I hope you have found it helpful. I just hope you're going to stick with me, okay, guys? I'm going to keep covering the videos now. Jumping onto the soldiers, and we'll be moving on to the team mechanics soon. But, yeah, please comment, rate, and subscribe to get all of that good stuff, okay? Loving the feedback, loving you guys for it. It was great to have Assassin with us, one of my subs, yeah, getting involved. I'm happy to do that with any of you guys. Drop me a gamer tag. We'll get in touch, all right? Take care of yourselves, guys.